Mr. Tippett's retired? Raise your hand. That's a pretty good percent, probably 50%. For those who have come after, this is Mr. Tippett. He was our CEO for what, 17 years, and on the board before that, right?
Yes, about 8 years, sir.
Yeah. So
25 years. 25 total.
ATMs, checking accounts, mortgage, anything but fixed rate mortgages.
Yes.
We
Yes.
see you at, or online banking.
Home equity loans.
Home equity.
Debit
Credit cards. The
credit
staff
cards.
A
love.
lot.
This-
So when you guys all think you're overwhelmed with projects, that all happened in a very short period of time.
We did 2 or 3 significant things every year, and Lori kept saying, "Could we slow it down just a little bit?" So we,
And she still does that.
Looking out for you guys.
the most extreme one, and I was really naive at this point. Okay, I was about a year into it, and we had to change the computer systems. Gary, where are you, Gary?
Right over here.
That was all Gary's idea. And we changed the numbers on the accounts. Every number got changed on the accounts. And I was a little annoyed, or not, that's the wrong word. I was a little concerned. We were not working on Saturday. Our members worked on Saturday. Why weren't we working on Saturday? And we had members on the East Coast and the West Coast, so we should start at 7. That's 8 on the East Coast, and we should end at 7, which is 5 o'clock. All of that happened January 2nd, 1992,
Yes.
and we got through it.
I was 90 days on the job. I was responsible for the Mac, and I was responsible for phone loans. And we changed our hours 7 to 7 on January 2nd, the same day we were live with our system conversion.
Which
And
went
we
from
had-
employee number to social
Which
security
went from
number.
employee number to social security number. We did our call 24, dumb terminals to PC, call 24 completely changed. All on my 91st day at work. And we survived. We lived to tell the tale.
And our members still loved us.
And our members love us.
Well, I will kick us off, everyone. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. We were worried that nobody was going to be here on a Tuesday, and look what happened. Welcome, and thank you all for joining us. My name is Todd Camp, and while my official role is Marketing Communications Manager, I've also become something of our unofficial/official historian here at American Airlines Federal Credit Union. Over the past 17 years, I've had the incredible privilege of gathering, preserving, and sharing our stories, artifacts, and memories to tell our unique history. Much of what you see here today started as a project for a 75th anniversary, a milestone that sparked my journey into uncovering our past. Together with then CEO Angie Owens, Executive Assistant Susan Drake, we assembled 3/4 of a century of credit union history in a matter of weeks, much of which is collected in some of the notebooks that are back there on the table next to the exhibit. As we prepared for our 80th anniversary, my research only deepened, leading to a journey to the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum in DC, happily coinciding with the opening of our branch there, which unlocked a wealth of information about one of our founders, our primary founder, Mr. Victor Grunin. A lot of that you'll see playing on the screens behind you. His vision and dedication was what really made this organization possible. Every item you see here today tells a story, stories of resilience, growth, and commitment to our members, from the iconic little man with the umbrella to Elliot the eaglet. These displays capture who we are, where we've been, and the values that continue to guide us. So thank you for coming here to celebrate this history with us as we are just about to celebrate our 90th anniversary next year. I hope you enjoy exploring these pieces of our past as much as I've enjoyed bringing them together. And as a reminder, every time I do one of these exhibits, I run my own history organization. I love setting all this stuff up because it gives people an idea of what we're looking for and the kinds of things that tell our story. So, if you have these things at home, locked away in a desk drawer, stuffed in a file cabinet someplace, feel free to reach out to me.
Don't throw it away.
Happily preserve it and share it for future generations to come. And now I'd like to introduce our president and CEO, Gail Enda, to say a few words.
Great to see everybody. I don't know that we've had a full house like this in this room for quite a while. We get people in through lunch sometimes. So today we are going to focus on our time capsule that was buried with when we built for the building on Amon Carter. and we moved it to this building. It was quite an ordeal working with the architects and the construction manager and project manager where we were gonna bury it. I'm not gonna tell you where it's been buried since we moved to this building, but we hid it. But we felt like when we moved, it was too early to open up the time capsule. And honestly, none of us knows what's in the time capsule, but we made a commitment that we thought 25 years would be a good period of time. And it coincides that, Mr. Tippett could be here with us because he was the CEO that built the building on Amon Carter, which I don't think when you built it, you had any idea that we would outgrow it after, 15 years? We stayed in it for 20 about, not quite, 18 years. And I think for those that were in that building, we were bursting at the seams. So anyway, and then Suzanne is over here hiding a little bit. She's actually the person who put it in the ground at the old building. So
Don't blame me if it's dust.
yes. So we're just telling you all, keep your expectations low. We really don't know what's in there.
We hope it's nobody's sandwich.
It was, all those notes like, who took my X from the refrigerator? Might be one of those things. So anyhow, but as we were reminiscing a little bit right before we kicked off, this credit union has a good and rich history for 89 years. I think part of our success, or a big part, obviously, are all the employees in here and the passion that you have for what we do and for our members. But also that the fact that we keep our members focused, and as you listen to members and hear what they need or what they want, you share that. And we're bigger than we used to be, but we're still a small family in some regards. And so I will just encourage people here to continue to be the voice of members, continue to be the voice of your coworkers, because those voices are what makes us better and stronger every day, and keep up the energy so we can keep up the pace. It's a hard world out there. There's a lot happening. But it's more important than ever that, in this ever-changing and less personalized world, we are there for our members, and we remain committed and have that personal touch that so many places don't have anymore. So I just want to thank you all for getting us here to being able to have the 25 years inside the 89-year experience. John, is John next on the list, Todd?
Yes, he is.
Okay, well, you probably got a little, I'm sorry, I didn't stand up.
No. I don't like standing up because I get a little tired a little bit faster, but I want to see all your faces, so I apologize. I'll stand and move around, and I'll keep this stick close. I was a student at UCLA, early 60s, and last year I was there getting another degree, but I got a part-time job at LAX, LA International. I got a part-time job as a clerk in the cargo department. I was in a building that shook, rattled, and rolled. When they backed up a truck to the dock, the building shook. When they had a forklift hit one of the supports, the building shook. When an airplane, which was a DC-6, started up its engine, the building shook. When a train went by, the building shook. Anyway, that was my beginning with American Airlines, was in this collapsing building. But a few months after I had joined the credit union, immediately after being an employee, I joined the credit union, and I bought, well, the credit union bought for me and let me drive a Chevy Malibu, a beautiful blue Malibu. And I'm very thrilled with that car. And a year later, Bonnie and I were married, and we went on a honeymoon to the Grand Tetons in that car. Over the next 5 years, we brought home 3 babies in that car. Now, you just don't understand. This was a 2-door car. This had a stick shift, and you can't imagine what baby car seats look like, okay? You just can't imagine. But anyway, my point is, this credit union has been a part of my life and our family's life for 59 years. And a lot of it's been car loans and education loans and medical costs and services. I love the ATM, and I go in and haunt your branches still. But it's been a big part of our life. In fact, on the car loan side, you got to understand, we raised 4 teenagers. We had one car that had a disagreement in an intersection with was it a garbage truck or a cement truck? Cement truck. Not habit forming, by the way. We had another one of your cars roll over, okay? Everybody climbed up. We had another one of your cars drown in the high water, okay? We had another one of your cars at an intersection in Grapevine get to meet several people in the community, including a lot of first responders. So your cars and the credit, I got really used to doing the paperwork for insurance coverage, okay? But it was a great history. Now, I enjoyed the coworkers. I had to report to a board of directors though. They gave me advice and direction, and they were good men and women, wonderful people, okay? But my best advice, the best learning, was from the employees who were on the front line. Those of you who interacted with our members, knew what their needs were, knew what their circumstances were, knew how our systems interacted with them and their lives. So you were the best source of training I could have ever hoped for. And I'm grateful for all of you and each of you. And I'm grateful for what we did for members. We had this phrase, and you've got it on the vision statement somewhere, but what you did was impact the lives of people. You made their lives better. You helped their financial welfare. You helped them plan for retirement. You were great resources for people, families, members of the American Airlines, their families, people in the tip industry, little folks at Sky Chefs who were driving trucks and cooking food and preparing trays. You are impacting those lives, and I'm grateful for all what you did. We loved what we did. We loved the people we did it with, and we loved the people we did it for. You can't do that in many business environments. It's an unusual thing you can do in a cooperative financial institution like this credit union. Anyway, after I retired, I ran another credit union for a few years and ran another credit union for a few months and did some consulting and speaking. But I would often refer to a talk. You can find it as a TED Talk. The speaker was a Harvard professor by the name of Clayton Christensen. If you've ever seen his TED Talk, you can find it on YouTube. But anyway, he gave a talk, which he gave to the Harvard students that he taught. And he wrote a book, and he got a Harvard Business Review article. But it was How to Measure Your Life was his title. And he described that God, when we come face to face, we're going to find out he doesn't use accountants. He doesn't use statisticians. He doesn't use computer systems. What he's going to do is say to us, is I put this person in your life. And I want to know how you treated that person. Did you make that person's life better? Did you help that person achieve their potential? Did you help that person through a crisis or a difficult time in their life? That's the way God's going to measure our lives. And the bigger point is, the credit union is one of those very unusual environments where you can do this every day with members, with team members, co-workers, as they call it. You know, I've often sang a song called Count Your Many Blessings. Name them one by one, and it will surprise you what God has done. Working here with you was one of my great, great blessings. Thank you very much for letting me be here with you again today. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Right? But I think everyone here probably has what I'll call their personal credit union origin story. Mine is owed to this man. I will be honest, I do not remember joining the credit union. I think it was a piece of paper that was slipped into my new hire packet back in the day when everything was on paper. Because when I look at my start date or my credit union membership date, it's the same as my start date with American Airlines. And back in the day, payroll deduct, I just had payroll deduct, but I didn't really have that relationship with the credit union. But my office, I had two offices. I had a group in the headquarters for American and a group in what was called CP2, which is where the credit union headquarters were. And that was a training group, and it had classrooms, and the credit union was growing. And somehow this man knew the days that I was gonna be over in that building in my office over there, and he would come walking by, and he would let me know, he had a list of how often we were not using that classroom, and why I should let that space go for the credit union.
About every year, a good
Yeah.
piece of it.
And then I'd be over in headquarters and he would find me there. But we worked together on many different problems and things before I was a part of the credit union. And then at some point in the late 1990s, early 2000s, John would come and sort of talk to me about, you might want to think about coming to the credit union.
Yeah.
We're growing, there are going to be opportunities, and I was like, and he finally won me over. But anyway, so yes, you talking about how you impact people, and I had no idea that this was going to be my opportunity, and I would get to be the CEO and follow you there was an interim break.
Yeah.
And you were also very modest when you said you went to go to work for other credit unions. John was asked by the NCUA to go work for troubled credit unions that needed to be turned around and steered out of conservatorship. That was a tough road.
First year or two in San Diego was very, very difficult.
You didn't get to see the beach much, huh?
No, didn't see the beach, but towards the end, it got
Yeah.
fun, over the hump.
But anyway, if maybe as everyone leaves here, we could take your story, John, and put it in the next time capsule. So 25 years from now, people will get to hear your story. I think that's one of our missions that are here. But maybe what I could encourage each of you to do is to think if there's someone here at the credit union who has impacted you on your credit union journey, and find the time to just remind them of how they've helped you be a better person, be a better credit union employee, make the credit union a better place, and say thank you. And whether they're here today or there's someone who has left the credit union, worked somewhere else, or has retired, reach out and just say thank you to someone today. That would mean a lot. So
Great idea.
thank you, John.
And thank you for sharing your families with me. I know lots of little babies who are now 20 years old. And some of you, I saw you when you were very sick and ill, or I saw you lose a parent. And I'm grateful to have been part of your family adventures and your family tragedies and your family special times. So this has been a great family association.
Oh.
Before we get to the fun festivities of opening the time capsule, I just want to thank a few people. I want to give my thanks to Gail and John Tippett for being here and agreeing to do this. I also want to thank Todd and Amy Graham, who put tireless amounts of work in it. Lardy, Tammy, Eva, as well as the marketing team, the facilities team, and the employee communication team. So just want to thank everybody who played a role in bringing us together today. And I want to thank you guys for being here as well as we celebrate this milestone. We're entering our 90th year of service, community, and commitment to the credit union. And it was nearly 90 years ago that a group of visionaries came together with a simple but I think powerful thought that financial services should serve people and be more focused on the people than the profits. And today we're going to honor that legacy and everybody who helped carry it forward. Before us, we've got the time capsule you can see here in front of Todd. This capsule is a message from our past, and it's sealed by John Tippett, Suzanne, others that have come before us. And it's been preserved with care, and now it's entrusted in us so we can open it and rediscover its contents, and we're all a little curious. If I'm guessing, I'm gonna guess it's a lot of historical documents, because those of you who know John Tippett know at heart he's a historian.
Hopefully they're not dust.
And so we're here, together to open this time capsule and just not only celebrate our history, but our continued purpose that connects our past and our present and our future. So let's take a step back in time, Todd, and let's get this thing open. Thank you guys very much.
have one thought, and I'm looking at this thing and a thought came to me. Over these 89 years, a little accumulation has occurred of stuff like it's in the time capsule. It's actually the accumulated impact on the lives of others. But also, in the process of doing the accounting, is Sean here, Sean here, Sean here? Yeah. Anyway, process of doing the accounting, there's a little pot of money that is kept back, and it's called net worth, income, and ultimately it's the capital of the credit union. That number is now $1 billion. I mean, you need to keep it here in a safe, okay? Just a little observation. You are the custodians, you and the board are the stewards of that $1 billion of money effectively contributed by the hundreds of thousands of people who've been members of this credit union. So this is a physical capsule, but you are the capsule and the stewards of a lot of money, as well as a lot of other stuff. But you got one of these yourself. That's my bigger point.
John, you wanna take the last one off?
Leave you the last one.
And while they're opening the last one, I wanted to say Angie Owens really wanted to be here today, so she sends her regrets that she couldn't. We wanted to get a picture of our 3 CEOs together. We're gonna find a way to make that happen before John moves next month.
All right. Nuts are all off, okay?
Yeah, can we let Suzanne has a quick.
So just real quick, this is kind of a funny story. So when we moved into the other building and there was a place for this in the courtyard, if y'all remember, and it had a granite slab over it. Well, for some reason, the date was incorrect. So Mr. Tibbetts came to me and tasked me with updating that slab. Well, back then, granite wasn't a thing, you know, nobody had granite countertops or anything, so I was like, where am I gonna get a slab of granite and have it etched with our logo and the dates and everything? So I contacted a company that made headstones. So
Very resourceful.
that was the story of the slab there and the time capsule that went under it.
I think it said 2002 on it when it was 2001 or
Yeah,
something,
it was
whatever
01
it was,
and
whatever,
it was
there was an
corrected in
error there,
02,
little
so-
error.
Todd, you
Happens.
had the honors?
Happens to cemeteries all the time. All right.
Put your hand in and see. Yes, documents.
Best I can tell, there's nobody's lunch in here.
No animal popped out.
It's still intact.
Yeah, one more.
Building those are silicone.
Yeah, there's a lot of acid-free.
Well, there's one.
The little medallion that,
We made for one of our anniversaries.
this was the building one. When we opened the building, there's an eagle on one side and a,
I must have slipped this one in late. It says 2005.
he had a lot of foresight.
At some future point in time, a next generation of American Airlines Federal Credit Union staff, leaders, and member owners will open this time capsule and read something about the circumstances and actions of the AA Credit Union at the beginning of the 21st century. The planning and groundbreaking for this new beautiful building, how AA Credit Union proactively responded to September 11, 2001 attack on America, its consequences to our airline sponsor company, and on the lives of tens of thousands of AA Credit Union members. A copy of the Out of the Storm painting and the story behind it as an expression of hope and prayer that the United States of America and American Airlines would survive and emerge strong from the tragedy of September 11th. The 2002-2003 strategic thinking and considerations behind our field of membership changed to an air transportation industry occupational definition. A March 2004 memo describing the ongoing banker attacks on credit unions and the AA Credit Union's position and actions as shared with AA Credit Union board members and supervisory committee members. And a February 2005 white paper on perspectives on U.S. credit union movement. All right.
Can I make just a comment on the banker attacks haven't stopped. If people, there are postcards that are around the building, especially if any of you are in Beth Van Dyne's district. She is on the House Ways and Means Committee, and is influential in keeping the tax-exempt status of credit unions in that position. So if you want to shoot off an email to her to thank her for, or ask for her continued support to protect and preserve the credit union's tax-exempt status, because that is really what gives us the ability to focus on our community, our air transportation community, the American Airlines community, and make sure that we have the resources to give back. We build communities as part of our tax-exempt status. So please do take time, look at those postcards, but you know, until the ink is signed at the White House, we are at risk, and we need every one of you to use your voice to protect it. So,
You know, the secret of business strategy is what you do different than the other guys. Not trying to beat them at what they do. It's what you do different. Being a not-for-profit cooperative is truly a different structure than a bank. And it creates some very different economics, and it creates some very different morale and working situation. So keep your differences. Don't try to be the same as everybody else, and least of all, don't try to be the same as big banks. You can't do that. And in fact, you want to be different so that your members realize and think you're different. Anyway.
Todd, we're gonna have you help us figure out, but here are some pictures of the groundbreaking at the building over there, an article about the board of directors and the building, the architect's press release, a rendering, which is amazingly looks just like the building. Our 65th anniversary announcement. The plane, the DC-3, being hung up. It's in our branch here. We moved it over, but that was the challenge of getting it hung up over there.
Yeah. Well, there's a story there too, just a quick one. The plane was supposed to be the flagship Illinois, and marked as the flagship Illinois, because that's where the credit union started, in Chicago, Midway Airport, etc. So, but when the plane came delivered, they had gone over to the museum to make sure they got the plane right, and they named it the flagship Knoxville, or whatever. Anyway, you look at it, you remember it's the flagship Illinois, just in case.
Then there is, as John mentioned, the response to 9/11. There was, I guess, I don't know if this was PowerPoint or the predecessor of PowerPoint, but some interesting things. The Out of the Storm, talks about the Out of the Storm painting that's over there. What we did for immediate relief to help members with Soldiers and Sailors Act, waiving fees, a discussion about our participation in the CARE team. Kent has continued to support the CARE team through many incidents. As have others in our card services department, because it talked about us getting, being part of the Visa check card program, which we still are. We did fundraising. We talked about being a flight to safety for our members. There's the Out of the Storm print. And the issues that John talked about. So anyway, there are a lot of interesting documents to read through, perspectives on the U.S. credit union movement. We should probably read that right now. Okay. So anyway, lots of interesting history, and a lot has changed, and a lot hasn't changed, interestingly enough. So anyway, guys, all thank you very much. Tom, anything to?
Yeah, we could probably put a lot of this stuff together as a PDF and share it on the hub with a wrap up of this. But after that, I just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Special thanks to Mr. Tippett and of course Gail and Lori and everyone else who participated in this. Our history is more than just dates and documents. It's the stories of the people who built, led, and shaped the organization, and it's all of you who continue that legacy every day. I encourage you to enjoy some cake and punch and take your time exploring, asking questions, and reflecting on how the credit union has grown and evolved, all while staying true to our mission of serving our members. Thank you again, and please enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you all for being here. I bet your phones are ringing off the hook.
It's like a plastic